Hello guys and welcome to the FPL Duo. We are here for the deadline stream for Game Week 28. And before we get into this video guys, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe for more, and make sure your notifications are turned on as well. So, obviously Huss is his birthday today, so everyone wish him a happy birthday. I don't think he'll be making his deadline stream this morning, unfortunately, so I will be taking it for the remaining hour or so that's left of it. So, yeah, his plans I assume, are rolling still. So his team won't change from what you saw yesterday in the podcast. So you get a rough idea of what his team will look like for Game Week 28. And he will react for the knee-jerk reaction, I'm sure, to obviously react to how well his team's done. But here we go, guys. Let's get stuck in. So here's my team on the screen. As you can see, it's not 11 and the team bench in that exact order and position. And yeah, as you know, if you did watch the stream from yesterday, the podcast, I am also rolling too. So I have no transfer plans required. Saving those transfers up for the blank Game Week 29 looming around the corner after obviously 28 is finished. So yeah, as you can see, the team is unchanged. Only the bench options are really different because of their fixtures. But let me just quickly run through it. So in goal, I got Pickford. Back three of Mikalenko, Munoz, and Trent this week. The midfield four of Mbeumo, Palmer, Salah, and Cliver. And up front, we got Isaac, Wood, and Wissa. So the only changes really is Milenkovic coming off and replacing him with Mikalenko. Solely because without Cunha now, I don't think Wolves will score against Everton. I think they'll struggle, as that's where the main contributor for Wolves is, literally from Cunha. So I'm going double Everton defence, seeing if it does pay off with Pickford and Mikalenko. That would be a huge one for me this week. And obviously, Wolves hasn't lost a game yet, so I'm very confident with Everton, especially with Wolves losing Cunha with a match suspension, and hopefully they can keep a clean sheet against them still. As we know, Everton's defence is rock hard about when it comes to facing opponents, even though it's an away game. So let me take a few of your comments in the chat as it's rolling in. So the first one's from Max. So hello. I'm not confident this week. Might do Palmer captain rather than Salah. Interesting, obviously, option. Very bold because it is Southampton at home. I'm not sure because normally against this fixture it has been high scoring for Liverpool. There was a moment, I think, 2 seasons ago when Salah did blank when it was 9-0 or somewhat like that. Somehow he did manage to not score in that game. And then the next season, I think he did go on to have a good game against Southampton. So, yeah, he's massive to back against Salah, especially when he's having his best season on record in terms of FPL. Let me know what your other, or actually Palmer's your captain instead. I'm not sure. I mean, Palmer for this week is good against Leicester at home, but as a captain option, I'm not sure. I still think Salah will outscore Palmer this game week, and I don't know. I'm feeling quite confident over that because Salah's only blanked to Nottingham Forest twice and another team, and he has yet to obviously have more blanks than against more than 2 teams. And am I free hitting next week? No, I'm actually going to get away with not free hitting. I'm going to use 2 transfers on players that blank and benching the rest who blank on the bench. So yeah, this is why I'm rolling the transfer this week, so I can use the free transfers to evade using the free hit in 29 and keep a hold of it for a bit longer, where I could use it elsewhere, possibly in the double game week. following up, but it all will depend on obviously FA Cup and who goes through, who goes out, because it's always team dependent on obviously who has a double and who doesn't. But nah, I'm gonna save the free hit for the next week and just get by with using transfers, because I will have free transfers once I roll this week. Unfortunately, I've managed to evade any injuries or suspensions in the team, because as you know, Mateta is injured, Paul is injured, Gordon is suspended, obviously Cunha is suspended, and I think that's it in terms of injuries and suspensions that has happened in the last week or so. So I've got no flags whatsoever. And Isaac we've heard that from Eddie Howe himself, he's fine. So his flag has disappeared. So I'm in a good position, I think, because a lot of people at the moment will be in the difficult position of using transfers just before the blank game week. And I think that will force a lot of people into using a free hit early on than planned for their team. So yeah, it's going to be interesting the chip strategy and what people do now, because we've had FA Cup and Europa League, and we've seen the difference that's made coming up to this game week 28. But yeah, in terms of captaincy, for me, it is Salah all day. There's no one else that fits the frame for that. I mean, in terms of fixtures as well, apart from Palmer, there's no one with an outstanding one that I could be persuaded to go towards, because they all have average to tough fixtures. Would having Man City for one. With against Aston Villa, I'm not sure of. With in Burma too, and Isaac, who's got West Ham away, which again, he's just had a few nicks and knacks here and there. So I don't think I'll be going towards anyone else but Salah. Just think Salah will get 70 minutes max this week. Yeah, it is possible. Obviously, Salah potentially might not play the full 90 minutes because of Liverpool's fixture run. But if he manages to score early on, let's say he scores the first 2 goals of the game early in the first half, then that's at least obviously racked up of a double haul right there. So as long as Salah does it early, doesn't leave it too late, and he is a goal scorer by then, it could get away with it. But the only worst thing is it could backfire and he could not score, and it's potentially 3-0 up. He could be taken off, and that's a blank for Salah. But to back against Salah against Southampton at home is one of those fixtures where it's very hard to go against. And we've seen Southampton, they have conceded the most goals this season. They're pretty much fit for relegation. There isn't much to fight for Southampton. The only thing really they can purposely do is try and stop Liverpool from obviously winning the title, I guess. So they're pretty much stopping any big team they can, Southampton, and see if they can cause a bit of drama. But again, I don't see that happening at Anfield. That's going to be like a whitewash to Southampton, just because of the comparability of teams. But it should be interesting. Obviously, the fixtures, especially not on the Forest and Man City. I think that's a big one this week, and I'm definitely going to watch that game. Just because of the table race, that could mean Man City leapfrog, not the Forest. I think by 2 or 3 points above them. So yeah, it's a big game for both of those teams. None of us are at home, so they have got the home advantage in their favour. But it will be interesting for Man City on the perspective of that to see if it's worth bringing in the Haaland or Marmoush or Guardiola into the team, especially if they have a double later on. So I will be keeping a close eye on that game in particular. In terms of the bench, though, Rogers, Milenkovic, and Hoyson, he's fine. I don't hate the bench. I mean, it's a good playing bench. I'm going to bench boost eventually as well, so I kind of want a bench that is active. So I'm all set up for that. And yeah, we're pretty much relaxing for the next 15 minutes because I'm rolling. There's nothing really I can do. But let me know, guys, what your plans are in the chat and what you're thinking of in terms of captaincy, because looks like Ali is possibly going for Palmer captain. Is there any other candidate that you can potentially pick in your team? Let me know. But while we are on the topic of fixtures, I might as well bring them up again for this week just to see who's got and what day we have them on. So there is switch over my screen. So this is the fun thing because the early fixture is Man City, not the Forest, which, as we all know, early fixtures always have very unpredictable results too. And not the Forest one is going to be one of those where I think it could go either way, if I'm honest. I know Man City have sort of clawed it back in terms of their form, but these early fixtures can be a bit funny. Could possibly see a drop in Man City in terms of points. I don't think they get the 3 points. I think Nottingham Forest will somewhat have a draw or potentially win against Man City. It wouldn't surprise me because this is the Man City we haven't seen in years. Not that their best. So this could be a one-off opportunity where we see Man City drop points again. Maybe you're in the top 4, top 5. We have to see. But I'm not confident Man City. Especially not in the Forest. I was expecting a drop with them by now. And I sort of have lost and drew here and there. But I was expecting a much major drop. They seem to have sustained that in the top 4, which is quite good. Best I've seen on the Forest, especially with the team. Is Isaac definitely fit? According to Eddie Howe, he is. He says he's fine. And he has been seen in training as well. So with that all in order, he should be starting against his fixture against West Ham. And hello, Dan. Same question: if we play two of Pickford, Kepa, Makalenko, or Kirkes? Okay, so Pickford or Kepa. It would have to be Pickford for me this week against Wolves. Like I said, without Cunha, I don't really see Wolves scoring against Everton. And that was the only the player that was dangerous enough to threaten Everton defence. I would play him. I'd even play Mikalenko as well, because that's what I'm doing. I'm very confident of Everton keeping a clean sheet against Wolves. I just don't see them scoring without having Cunha in the team. So I would probably possibly play Pickford and Mikalenko this week and leave Kepa and Kirkes on the bench because I kind of see Spurs scoring anyway. The only thing you'd probably miss out for Kirkes is an attacker return, I think. But a clean sheet, I don't think will happen for Bournemouth. So hopefully that goes the way we want it to. That's one coming on, so nice. Yeah, I mean, I would be a bit more reluctant if Cunha wasn't suspended and he was playing in that game. I think I would only play Pickford and then possibly play Kirkes and bench Mikalenko just so there's a half chance of obviously Everton keeping clean sheet, but also Bournemouth too. But without him in the team, possibly see a win or for Everton, and Moyes can keep his unbeaten record keep going as well for them. But yeah, back to the fixtures. The 3 o'clock ones. There's 3 of them. Got Brighton, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Ipswich, and the big one, Liverpool, Southampton, which again, in terms of captaincy, Salah's, that will be all eyes on that game as well, because we sort of expect Liverpool to win that game. Half chance of a clean sheet as well for them, and seeing whether Salah can get a nice haul from that fixture. Brentford, Aston Villa are the late kickoff in the evening, as well as an 8 o'clock one, which is interesting because you don't normally get an 8 o'clock game after a 5:30 one. But yeah, that's Wolves and Everton. I suppose that one I will keep an eye on just because of Beto and see what Wolves do in the absence of Cunha again. But yeah, I'm probably expecting Everton to win that game away and hopefully keeping a clean sheet against them. Sunday fixtures, there's 3 of them, 2 of them at 2 o'clock. Chelsea and Leicester, another big one for them in terms of top 5. Chelsea need to get the points or they drop out of that race. Spurs and Bournemouth, well, obviously Spurs are bottom half of the table, struggling with injuries. They sort of got some of the players back from injury, but it's going to be a hard to call one again between Spurs and Bournemouth. And then you got Man United and Arsenal. This one, I'm very interested to watch because this is one of the games where you expect Man United to just turn up out of nowhere, like they did against Liverpool, and somewhat get a result out of obviously the game. So that one's a big one for both sides, especially Arsenal if they want to keep up with Liverpool, which honestly I don't see happening. This could be another game week where they could potentially drop again in terms of points. And Man United get a result which they desperately need because they are a similar spot to where Spurs are in the table. And then you got the Monday night fixture. It's West Ham and Newcastle, and obviously that obviously played on Monday. That does give them a lot of time, obviously, to recuperate on injury doubts as well, which they should be clear by now because it is a Monday game. He's got all the weekend to rest and train, so yeah, Isaac should be fine. He's not flagged anymore for FPL, so that's a good sign too. And it's Beto or Watkins. Or Aston Villa have Brentford. Not entirely a fan of the fixture for Watkins. I'd rather go Beto, who has Wolves. I think that is a better fixture for him. And the form he's on at the moment, I would prefer Beto over Watkins. Damn, man, I could do Lewis to Munoz, or is that a waste? It would mean only 10 players in 29. Yeah, that's I suppose it depends because if you're keeping Munoz for a long-term period, then somewhat that could work out. Because if we look back at Crystal Palace's fixtures, even though they have the blank, he has got Ipswich at home this week. And then after the blank, he has Southampton away. So the turnaround after the blank and before it is not so bad. And it does mean you'll be 1 player less in 29. And if I'm honest, I don't expect Lewis to play every game. Whereas I do see Munoz playing every game. I would possibly do it. I don't think it's a waste to do it as long as you keep Munoz in for obviously Ipswich, Southampton, Brighton. The ones after that, I'm maybe bench him in some of the fixtures, but I mean it means you only have 10 players of 29. For a defender, I don't think it's a bad idea because you could get some points from the Ipswich and Southampton game possibly, which could mitigate the 10 players of 29. And you can actually get 11 for 29 with Munoz. Then yeah, that's absolutely fine then. Yeah, Lewis to Munoz is a good transfer to make if you can fund that 11 especially. So yeah, I like the move. As a Munoz owner, he's been pretty good. A goal and an assist back to back. Because we've seen the attacking threat he provides for the team. And yeah, I think Munoz is a good option for the next two fixtures. Anyway, I have Jose Sarr and Raya who to play. So Raya has Man United and Sarr has Everton. Tough one, if I'm honest. I don't see Wolves keeping a clean sheet. I don't see Arsenal keeping one. But in the off chance, because it's Man United and their fixture, their matches are always unpredictable, I would play Raya and see what happens. Because you ain't got nothing to lose, I think, for that game. It's not certain what will happen in that game either, because of Man United's off performance. Arsenal could potentially whitewash Man United at home. I mean, at Old Trafford, they've been the worst, where you would normally see them at their best, but no, the home games have not been the greatest for them. And Arsenal could, although surprise a lot of people on Saturday. But yeah, I mean, I would think I would have more faith in Raya than I would in Jose Sarr for this week, just because of the fixtures. I don't see a clean sheet 3-1, but maybe you could get lucky with Raya and play him. Julian, start Robinson or Van Heck. Again, Brighton, they have Fulham, who's playing against obviously Robertson, so one or the other. Again, it's a tough one to call because Brighton have won their last three games and have sort of found a bit more form. Fulham is tough because it's away for them. I think I would still play Robinson just for that attacking threat that you could get from the game because, again, clean sheet I don't see possibly happening because I see both teams scoring anyway. But there is the off chance that Robinson could nick an assist. And should I bench Bruno and start Enzo or sell him to who? I don't know if I bench Bruno Fernandes. That's the one from Man United and start Enzo or sell him to who? I think I would start Bruno regardless of him having Arsenal because he's a lot of money to be benching and he is Man United's best player on the pitch in terms of form and experience. He's the only one that looks like he'll be either part of the goal or be the goal scorer in the team. And it's one of those fixtures where I don't know what will happen. But it's one of those fixtures where I will start him anyway over, let's say, an Enzo who has a better fixture, arguably, for Leicester at home. I will sort of try and fit both of them in and not bench either one. But if you really can't fit in both of those players in that 11, then I would say you got to bite the bullet and bench Enzo, which is a mad thing to say if I'm honest, because Enzo has the much better fixture and could outscore Bruno. But if Bruno gets a penalty, then that all can change because Enzo's not a penalty taker for Chelsea. So there is that too to consider. Penalty takers can be clutch in big games. I would suggest benching Enzo and starting Bruno, mad as that sounds, because I haven't trusted Man United's form. Anyway, how many players can you field next week without transfers? So, without transfers, I can field 9 players. If I bench all the ones at blank, I will have 2 players remaining at blank in the 11, which are Trent and it would be Trent or Munoz, who will be left on the bench because Isaac will be on the bench. trying to remember who blanks now. So Isaac will be on the bench. Is it going for that blank as well? I don't know, blank. Salah will be on the bench. And no, it's not Bournemouth. Yeah. It's bench. Rodgers. So it'd be Rodgers, Salah, and Isaac on the bench, which will leave me with Trent and Munoz blanking. So I'll have 5 players that blank next week. 3 of them will be on the bench and 2 of them will be in the 11. So yeah, I'll have 9 players fielding next week. So that means I will have to use 2 free transfers to fill the 11, which I obviously have enough to do that. But yeah, guys, almost halfway through the deadline stream. Keep it going. Let me know what your plans are. Yeah. As I said, I am currently rolling this week. I'm not using a transfer. I'm going to save them for the big blank in game week 29. So, yeah, all to play for. I think this will be an interesting end of the season. 10 weeks left, and a lot of chip strategies will be in force from blank game week 29 onwards. I mean, the fixtures for this week aren't too bad. I think the toughest one, obviously, is Chris Wood with Man City at home. I'm not expecting much from, obviously, him and the big game and whatnot, but you never know. Man City defence hasn't been the greatest either this season, and they could slip a goal or 2 behind them. Then, man, I think I'm doing assistant manager 31, 33, free hit 34, wildcard 35, and bench boost 36 supports. Yeah, it's interesting. You still got the assistant manager chip and you haven't used it yet, which could benefit between 31 and 33. There's still a lot of points that could be taken from there in that range, which is good. Free hit 34. This is the one where I'm potentially thinking of using my free hit in, which again, that will be a double game week, possibly in 34. Wildcard in 35, obviously, is when the swing happens for the teams. So again, I don't hate that, and that does set you up for the bench boost in 36. So all in all, as long as injuries and suspensions don't play a factor during the chips that you're going to use in these game weeks, then yeah, I think that's a great plan for the remaining chips. Because for me, I only have 3 hit and bench boost, but you're in a good position to have wildcard and also the assistant manager chip as well still. So you're hanging on to those 2 could be the difference in obviously your rank as well. Because a lot of players and managers won't have assistant manager still. Very few will have it left, as well as the wildcard if it wasn't used early on, which I've used mine early on because I had to. So yeah, those chips will be very beneficial. Replace Cunha with Marmoush. You'll play Enzo Fernandez and roll. I would be tempted to replace Cunha because he's going to be out for maybe 5 matches. So he's giving himself a very massive portion of the season, what's left of it. So I don't think I'd want to keep him in my team, especially if he's going to lose me value as well, week after week. With Marmoush, I don't know if it's the right week to bring him in for. So I probably would play Enzo Fernandez, who's got Leicester at home. I think that would be better. And yeah, and roll. Yeah, I think that's the better way to go. I think you have to replace Cunha soon. But I think for this week, you can go without him and play Enzo Fernandez. You've got Leicester at home and roll the transfer. Matchday minutes. Hall to 8 Nuri, Cunha to Wissa, Wendai to Beto. Every transfer, not free hitting the game at 29. If I don't make a transfer, I'll have to play both Kirkes and Mikolenko. I mean, it's not such a bad idea playing Kirkes and Mikolenko without making a transfer. Even though I don't expect expecting Kirkes to get a clean sheet. Could you possibly go without using a transfer this week if you're not free hitting 29? Because I imagine you must have some headaches to deal with in terms of bench players, depending on how many players you have starting in 29 without obviously blanking. But Hall to 8 Nuri sounds good. Obviously, Wolves' fixtures are great. It's a shame that obviously Cunha is suspended for them. But I think 8 Nuri is still a good shout in defence. Cunha to Wissa. I'm not sure now with Brentford if it's the right time to bring them in now because the fixtures do swing and the boat sort of has been missed for that. But could be wrong in terms of that. But the fixtures are tough for Brentford. Or in Diete Beto. I think in terms of priority, in terms of transfers, I think I would do Beto, the one, and Diete Beto one. Because that seems the more beneficial one out of the three for this week because he has Wolves away. And it could turn up for that, I think, with Moyles, who's done amazing since he's taken over Everton. So, yeah, he would be the ideal transfer, I think. We've run through transfer, though, without free hitting the game at 29. It would be interesting to see how you navigate that, though, still. Start Hoyson or Aina. I think in the off chance I will start Hoyson. But to be a bit exciting, you could possibly start Aina. But Hoyton does have Tottenham away. I mean, I've benched both of these players from the team. Well, not Aina, but Milenkovic, who's not the Forest. They're both on the bench, so I'm not expecting much from both of them. But yeah, I'll probably start Hoyton off chance that maybe Bournemouth can hold on and sustain something from that game. Because I don't think Aina will keep a clean sheet. There is that attacking threat still. But I don't know if it's going to come from that Man City fixture. So I probably will start Hoyson. Jenny, hello. Start Pedropol or Tarkowski. I think I'll start Tarkowski against Wolves away. I think it's a fixture where possibly they could keep a clean sheet now that Cunha's suspended. And they're without their proud goal scorer now. They have to rely on the likes of Strand Larson, amongst others, João Gomez. But yeah, I don't really see it happening now for Wolves. I'd be very surprised if they manage to score and who it will be against Everton, even though it's away for them. But I think I would prefer Tarkowski over Pedro Porro. Jack, Captain Haaland over Salah this week. Thoughts? That is massive, captaining Haaland this week over Salah. But we have seen Nottingham Forest heavily lose to Bournemouth and to Newcastle. So, they lost 5-0 against Bournemouth and they lost 4-3 against Newcastle. So, on a good day, Man City could thrash Nottingham Forest and chance this morning. As I said, the early fixtures are very funny. They're not the result you expect them to be normally. But it is huge to back against Salah when he has Southampton at home. But it will be exciting because that could pay off hugely if Haaland has a great game. I don't hate the move. I mean, if you've got Haaland there, could be one to do, I think. But yeah, let me know what happens with your decision. because I don't hate it completely against it, but I mean, if you're chasing rank, it couldn't be a bad idea to do because we know how good Haaland is. He's still the top, well, still the top goal scorer, second top goal scorer over Salah, but he could easily overtake him. If he does, let's say, score a hat trick this week and then score another one next week. He has that potential. And then start Munoz or Robertson. Munoz for me against Ipswich at home, and over Robertson who has Brighton. I think I would have preferred Munoz, especially on the back-to-back attacking returns he's had. Dan, any good forwards from now till 33 apart from Wood? Yeah, that's been the pickle on who to pick as a alternative forward 33 onwards. Because we lost Mateta, we lost Cunha, and they were prime ones for that period. I mean, for me, it'll probably have to be there ain't many options, if I'm honest, that you could possibly go for during that period. I mean, I won't say Beto, but their fixtures are really tough during that period. 33 till 33 at least. Beto's only good for the next two with Wolves and West Ham. I think it has to be the Man City forwards, either Haaland or Mamouche. If I'm honest, their fixtures are decent. They're not so bad. Haaland's differential. Mamouche is a differential. There could be some worth going into Man City, especially if they have a double, depending on the FA Cup results. So apart from Wood, Man City forwards look good. 3-1. Dare I say it, João Pedro. He has had back-to-back returns now. I still wouldn't go there personally, but I can't ignore that the form has picked up for him. And can he sustain that? We'll have to see. But he could also be a forward to go for, also contemplating forward. Jenny, start Henderson or Flecken. I think I would start. I'll start Henderson over Flecken. I'm not sure with Aston Villa against Flecken, but Henderson against Ipswich, more confidence at home for them. And Crystal Palace, as we know, have picked up some sustainable form. Michael, thoughts on Palmer captaincy, and would you start Gakpo? Yeah, obviously there's a massive talk about captaincy of Palmer. I mean, it's interesting because Palmer hasn't really had that much input in quite a few game weeks. If we look at his record, fixture-wise, he hasn't scored since game week 21. And he got an assist against West Ham in 24. Other than that, he has not had a goal since then. Even Southampton at home, Chelsea won that 4-0. There was no input from, obviously, Palmer. Like his XG was high in terms of goal involvement, so I suppose he was a bit unlucky not to score from the chances he was provided with. So, yeah, it's a hard one there. Because I did say give Palmer one more chance against Leicester, and they have conceded quite a few goals, Leicester, and are struggling at the moment. So it could be another whitewash for Chelsea in terms of goals. I don't know, to chase this week, I personally wouldn't do it because Salah having Southampton at home. I would start Gakpo this week against Southampton in combination with Salah too. it does mean the points would be worthwhile to go for because not as many people own Salah like do Gakpo. But Palmer captaincy, I don't know if I'll go there just because of Palmer's recent form hasn't really impressed me that much. I don't think a goal is enough for him. He'll need to score like 2 or 3 against Leicester at home, and even that is a push, even though it's Leicester. He'd have to have a really good game, Palmer, to make me worth captaining him. But I don't think, for me, it's not for me. Harry Davies bench one out of these 4: Robinson, McDermott, Isaac, and Rodgers. I think it would be Rodgers who I bench out of those 4, play Robinson, McDermott, Isaac as the selection. Who are the best Cunha replacements? Well, we briefly spoke about this. I mean, it's either the Man City duo of Haaland or Mamouche, whichever one you prefer, or even a João Pedro. I think out of those replacements, they're arguably the best ones you could go for, I think. Or there's even Evan Nilsson, if you think you'll play the minutes for Bournemouth. But other than that, there isn't many options. With Mateta and Cunha absent, it has left the forward a bit more flatter now because it's either the fixtures aren't great for the forwards that do start, or they're just not had a great form. Start Rodgers or Dango. In terms of this, I'll probably start Rodgers. I think with Dango, he was great for Southampton game, but he wasn't really a player I would keep after that. I think it would just be Kluivert for me to keep as a Wolves option, so I'll start Rodgers over Dango. And you two have a good week, and you're welcome. As well, my team: Alisson, Trent, Robertson, Munoz, Palmer, Salah, and Burway, Dango, Kluivert, Wood, Isaac, Roll. Yeah, I think that's team definitely worth rolling. You got the main assets in there. The double, obviously, Bournemouth is interesting because I think that's what Huss has too with Kluivert and Dango. I would be tempted to take Dango out. I think next week if you're rolling this week though, because obviously Evan Nilsson being back, as mentioned by captain, that does mean minutes could be separated with Dango now. Soul Searcher, let's go. Haaland coming in right after the game. Yeah, exciting. Obviously, a lot of Haaland chat. A lot of people possibly bring him in. Let's see what he does against Nottingham Forest at home. Because as much as Haaland's been picking up form, he hasn't been really involved in games, as we've seen. He can have a few touches here and there, but nothing significant from him. It's just not many balls being fed to him. Especially with we'll be interested with Haaland. We'll be keeping a close eye on the Nottingham Forest game this morning. Who to go for Dango? Who to go for Dango? Actually, I'm not sure. Who to go for Dango? Yeah, tough one. In terms of Dango replacements, I mean, if you get forward it, there's Bowen as an option. They have nice fixtures coming up. But yeah, that's what really comes to mind as who to go for Dango and Bowen possibly. Harry, are you free hitting Game 29? No, I'm gonna try and I will maneuver it by using transfers because after I roll this week, I'll have free transfers to have for game week 29, and that will get me past using the free hit. So I will be keeping the free hit this for game week 29. I will navigate it through transfers instead, Harry. Which I wasn't sure whether I could do that or not because of obviously the FA Cup and Europa League and Champions League and whatnot could have affected that easily. I could have had major flags in the team and I would have to have used all the transfers to fix that this week. But it seems I have managed to assuage that with no flags whatsoever in the team. So I've got I've got 2 to 3 transfers at the moment, but after this week I'll have 3. So I am in I'll say a luxury position comparatively to others who might not have a team like this with no flags in it. Harry, apart from game week 29, when could use a free hit? I'm unsure whether to save my free hit or just use it for next game week. Well, there's going to be some double game weeks coming up. So I was thinking to use it for then to load up on double game week players for 1 week. Instead of navigating obviously the blank, use it for a week where you can bring in a lot of double game week players with the 11, and obviously it revolves back to the original team next week. But yeah, maybe it's worth using it in the double game with the free hit. It just depends on what one you use, 32, 34, because there are going to be some more doubles following that. Captain, Bigford, Gabriel, Robertson, Hoyson, Rogers, Salah, Luis, Diaz, Rogers, Parkwood, Zach, Watkins, Bench, Dango, or Masrari. Yeah, good team. Should you roll with that team? Absolutely, I think you can roll with that with ease. I don't see any issues whatsoever in that squad. There's no flags. The only thing you would have to navigate next week is obviously the blank, because you'll have Salah, Diaz blanking with Watkins as well, and is that 2? So yeah, a few blanks there. But yeah, rolling this week is fine with that team selection. So not long, guys. Obviously 40, but we have 10 or so minutes left. So make sure you lock in your teams and hopefully make sure your plans save the team as well. Don't make that mistake. Double check. You always save the squad. That I almost didn't do that. I think 2 weeks ago, and I would have had a different captain. And you have 4 free transfers though for next week. I mean, that's great. That's a good position to be in. A similar position to me where you can use the transfers to navigate around the blank. So yeah, that's fine. Start Matoma or Rogers. In terms of this, I might be tempted at starting Rogers. I'm not a fan of Brighton assets just because anyone could potentially score in that team. There's not really a main goal scorer yet, I feel like. So yeah, Rogers for me, because you've either got Watkins or him to score or get a return or be part of the goal involvements. And how about Waneri for Dango? I'm not sure whether I'll go from Waneri to Dango. I just think with Dango, he was great for like a Southampton game or a Leicester one or an Ipswich one. But other than that, I don't think I'd use Dango because of Evan Nielsen returning now. Dango's minutes could be at risk as well. So that's one also thing to consider. I just think Cliver is the only option I'd really go for in terms of Bournemouth. And with Evan Nielsen back in the frame, let's see how many minutes he does play, because he could be an alternative option. So I'll probably go for maybe an Evan Nielsen just to see, but we'll see how he gets on. But yeah, Dango's minutes will be very limited now. Harry Davis, those options in attack for Villa, but Roger seems to start consistently, so he should be fine. Yeah, that's a good point as well. With in terms of minutes, Rogers is the main man to start consistently for them. So yeah, he is the ideal one. that I would go for, especially with the 7 point he got last week as well. That a lot of people did take him out for that because of his how he's been very quiet as well. But that 7 point has sort of relived that action for him. And Beto, a good option. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Beto is a short-term differential, I think, in the next two. Because if we look at Everton's fixtures, they got Wolves this week and then West Ham at home. But then after that, the fixtures do swing massively for Everton. So we'll be interested to see what happens in from 30 to 34 because they're up against big teams in that period. But Wolves away, West Ham at home, two good fixtures. So I think for Beto, whatever you do for him after that is down to you, whether you think Everton will sustain something from those tough fixtures or not. And in terms of Beto as still a good option, then yeah, we have to reassess that. But I think Beto is a good option for the next 2 game weeks. Oh, Mamouche, Haverwood. I don't think it's the right time to bring Mamouche in now. I think wait a little bit more, see what Man City doing against Nottingham Forest, and reassess. I think. Yeah, Chris Wood. I don't hate having Chris Wood in the team. I think he's a season holder. I'm possibly going to hold him for the rest of the season now. He's just been that good, consistent through most of it, and he has scored the majority of Nottingham Forest's goals, and it was on penalties. So I suppose that's one good advantage over Marmouche is Woods on penalties, and obviously Haaland is over him. But yeah, not long, guys. I thought it feels like his deadline's gone really quick, and with just 9 minutes, 8 minutes or so to go. So yeah, obviously been a relaxing one because I am rolling over for next week. Obviously, Game Week 9 will be interesting. There'll be a lot more action and transfers being used and players taken out. But this week, it's the calm before the storm, I guess, for the team. In terms of this week, in terms of points, though, it could be an average week. I don't see it being that high scoring one. There is a mixed bunch of away and home fixtures too for the team. But yeah, all to play for, I think, for a lot of teams in the table as well, because we'll all give each other the top 4 race as well. Who finishes in top 4 will be interesting, and yeah, the next 3 games will be quite an eye opener, I think. So yeah, let's flip back to, I suppose, fixture page again, so you guys can see what we have, what we are looking forward to. So yeah, I never know what game you guys are watching as well, because there's a lot of games on today. 6 games to watch. Jam Action Pat Saturday for football. Harry Sales, Gabriel Minos, Trent, Salah, Palmer, Rogers, Cliver, Isaac, Wood, Wissa, and the bench of Fabianski, Mitoma, Robertson, Vanderberg. Any issues? No, I don't see any issues there. The only one you might have issues with later on is actually you won't. Not, I don't see any issues whatsoever. Harry there. Obviously, you have plans to navigate around the blank game Week 29 whether you're using a free hit or not. But apart from that, that team that's fine. Similar to my team. The only difference is I don't have Robinson and Vanderberg or Matoma or Fabianski. So yeah, I think it's a good team to go with for this game week. But yeah, we're in literally the final third of this season. So yeah, the season is coming near to the end. We're probably going to expect the title winners around perhaps 34. I think we'll know by then who who's won the league, and it was like it's obviously going to be Liverpool that are in a good position over Arsenal. And rumour Mamouche is not starting. This is an interesting rumour. If he's not starting in the game against Manchester City this morning, that's another reason why it's not maybe a good idea to bring him in yet because of this news. But yeah, normally when we hear a rumour like this, it's normally comes out true. So we have to see that lineups around 11:30 and see if Mamouche is on the bench or is starting. I'll be interested to see now if the rumours are he's not. Harry Days, I don't have much hope for the Arsenal game. I'm just praying we beat Sociedad on Thursday. I mean, that was a good boost for them to win, obviously 7-1 in the end. But yeah, Arsenal do have midweek games, and I think without Saka and Havertz being out for the season, Saka will return eventually, but maybe a little too late for them, especially after sustaining a severe injury too. I don't think they'll be rushing Saka back into the game, into the matches as well. But yeah, will be interesting one on Thursday for obviously Arsenal. They do. It is different prospect in other than the Premier League for them, but they seem to be handling it well for the moment. But yeah, there's still hope there. I think Harry. I mean, I still have hope for Man United, even though they're in a very poor position in the table. But yeah, I think Arsenal will beat Sociedad on Thursday. As a Man United fan, I can see that happening. But yeah, without Arsenal, just a topic of that with the Man United game, it is interesting to see what the result with that will be because Arsenal without really a forward, using a makeshift forward, isn't ideal. Despite Man United being an absolute mess through Amorim's setup. This is also a good point. Xerxes starting to get better. Yeah, he scored his first, I think, European goal as well in the week. So that will give him a bit of confidence because he has had a lot of things happen to him, unfortunate things, and not good for a player to have a lot of negative opinions on him. So yeah, that's a good booster for him. That European goal he scored during the week. So yeah, we are starting to see connections happen for Man United players. But yeah, I do agree. So he's getting better. It's going to take time, obviously, for Man United and the players around to get used to one another still. So I think next season will be a better perspective on the team. I think they just need a good lecture from the manager to see how they go on. Hopefully, Amorim doesn't get sacked before then. Man United can sustain quite a few more results before the end of the season. And also, good luck. Good luck to everyone as well. And hopefully, you have a good game week 2 in terms of captaincy and the points around your starting 11 too. And hopefully, there's green arrows out there for us this week. In terms of the deadline, it is up. Let me just go back to our team so you can finally see the team I've locked in for. So yeah, that is the team on the screen. And that is locked in, Salah captain, and that's the starting 11 and bench order, as you can see. So, on that note, I think we'll wrap it here. Last comment from Harry Davis. All I want to see is a good Man United team. Yeah, absolutely. Been waiting so long to see a good Man United team that clicks. Hopefully, we'll see that before the season ends. In one of the fixtures. But that is it, guys. Thank you for watching. Obviously, the knee-jerk reaction will be on Sunday after the Man United Arsenal game. So we'll wrap it up there, and yeah, we'll come back on Sunday to see how well the team has done and how well you guys have done. So yeah, until then, guys, enjoy the weekend, enjoy the football, and hopefully you have if you have any plans for the weekend, enjoy them. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow for the knee-jerk.
Bye.